We don't get a huge number of devs supporting the Vita. So when we do get a dev that wants to bring their game exclusively to Vita, I really want to support them. I really want to be able to recommend Sir Eatsalot, but I just didn't enjoy playing it. The plot of the game follows Sir Eatsalot, a fat but noble knight as he tries to stop the evil Hysterica from becoming queen of the kingdom. Hysterica has poisoned the water and is holding the cure hostage unless she's made queen. Sir Eatsalot has to travel to Hysterica's lair, defeating her evil rat army and helping people along the way. The plot was fine, but the way it was executed didn't work for me. As Sir Eatsalot makes his way to Hysterica's lair, there are frequent dialogue cutscenes, and they just became a bit too frequent. Every few screens there's a dialogue scene between the witch and her minion Soggy, or between Sir Eatsalot and an NPC. I guess they were supposed to be funny, but the jokes just didn't land for me. When they started I found them kind of amusing, but because they happened so often and were so silly and predictable, I became disinterested, and eventually I would groan when I saw the next one was happening, especially when it was a scene with Hysterica. These were really not funny at all. Sir Eatsalot as a character was fine. He's a noble knight, and that comes across in his dialogue scenes. I think there was still too many of his conversations, but at least different things were happening and he was meeting different characters, which made them more interesting than Hysterica's. One thing I definitely didn't enjoy was the unskippable cutscenes. If you do die just after a cutscene, you have to watch it again. It slowed the game down so much, and with jokes not landing, it added to my lack of enjoyment of the game. The gameplay is basically a platformer with exploration and some simple battling along the way. Sir Eatsalot can run, jump, use a shield and attack with a sword. Because of his size, he's a pretty slow character. When he jumps or uses his sword, there's a slight delay, almost a wind-up for him to be able to move his massive weight. It's a cool idea that his movement reflects his character, but it's not that fun. You move through the world so slowly. Battles are slow and formulaic. Defend, then attack again. Platforming is simplistic because of the nature of the character's movement. There were some platforming sections that were slightly tricky, where enemies were throwing cheese bombs at you while you were trying to avoid traps, but no area took me more than around 3 attempts to get through. The game does vary things up by having different enemy types, but once you know how to beat them, I didn't find there was much challenge to executing the same attack again and again. The journey to Hysterica's lair involves a lot of side quests to open up new paths to the next section. These normally involve exploring the area, finding an item or doing something like pulling a lever, and then returning to the character that gave you the quest who then opens up the next path. Because of the slow movement, I just found it such a chore to travel back through the screens. Sir Eatsalot can run for a limited time. He has a stamina gauge and you need to find sweet foods in the environment to charge his gauge. Even running, he isn't particularly fast, but it helps him make bigger jumps. I totally get that his movements reflect that he's overweight, but if he could at least run all the time, it would have made the game feel less slow, especially with all the backtracking around the map. Also, there's no world map, so I find myself getting lost at times. The music wasn't particularly memorable and the sound effects seemed out of place at times. Okay, I've been pretty down on the game, but what did I like about it? The best element of the game is the hand-drawn graphics. The characters and backgrounds look amazing, like out of a cartoon. Sir Eatsalot animation is really impressive. I like some of the trophy titles too, like one referring to the fact that the game uses the back touchpad on the Vita. And I also enjoyed sticker collecting. When you meet a new creature, you tap it on the screen and it opens up a minigame where you need to quickly trace the outline of the creature. Doing it successfully will gain you a sticker for your sticker book. I thought this was a cool element. Like I said at the beginning, I wanted to like this game, and I want to be supportive of devs that bring their games to the Vita, but I just can't recommend Sir Eatsalot. The slow gameplay, unfunny and overly long cutscenes, repetitive battles just left me bored. The reason this is an impressions video rather than a review is because I haven't finished the full game. I'm around 4 hours in and I just don't want to continue. I feel like the more I force myself to play, the less and less I'm liking the game. I hope the game finds its audience and that you guys tell me you're enjoying it, but this is just not a game for me. So guys, have you played Sir Eatsalot? Did you, unlike me, enjoy the game? Leave a comment below and as always, thanks for watching.